first hole.
Yes. Today we're working with a casting site. Okay, so the plug is taking shape. This is the aft part of the lower part of the keel. I've glued this one together now, and then I'm going to glue the front part together as well, and then we have the top part that will be 300 millimeters on top here as well. And then all this is going to be sanded down to the correct shape. So now basically the shape here, here, here and so on has the correct profile that we have cut. And then basically, we have to do this chamfering between each part here then to get it to the correct shape. And one thing worth mentioning is that we started off with this white EPS styrofoam. To be honest, I don't really know why. We just had some laying around, and it was fun to get started. I would say it would have been way easier if we just did it with this a bit harder XPS styrofoam instead, because it's a bit more dense. You see in this white one, it's very difficult to get the surface completely, or with a good surface finish. And at that point when we started, I thought that, but we will solve that later on with something that we can use as a padding. But the problem is that this padding has to be, flammable, as when we're gonna, as the complete plug is gonna stay in the mold when we cast. So right now, I'm not fully sure exactly how we're gonna do it, but it's a pain to redo all these parts. So I think we will just go with it anyway and hope that the surface finish will be good enough, basically. But if we would have done it from the start, once again, we would have used this XPS high dense styrofoam instead of the EPS for sure. Okay, so here we have the front part of the bulb, or whatever you want to call it, glued up. So now it's just this piece, that piece, and then the top piece that's supposed to go together. Also done this painting just so that you can see where the surface that you're gonna keep when you start sanding it. Okay, so today's the time to start shaping the plug. So I have both pieces here glued together. And now the idea is to start to trim them down to its actual shape. And then later on these two will be glued together.
So what's on the agenda now is to drill the holes.
The agenda now is try to get this really badass magnet drill that we have borrowed from a friend of ours upside down here and drill the 3 holes and thread them.
Yeah, because
to an M24 thread.
Yeah, because as we mentioned before, we're gonna have this threaded rods that we're gonna go through the new part of the keel to attach it to the original part of the keel.
Yeah, and we have 8 holes already here in front that we're gonna use, and we're gonna add 3 more here in the aft.
So we managed to mount this magnetic drill, and now we're gonna try to test drill it. First hole.
Yes.
And tried with a threaded rod.
2 to go.
Now we're finished with all the holes.
Now we're just gonna thread them all. But that went really smooth with the first one, so yeah, first thing is just to get this beast down.
Yes.
Okay, so I have all the 3 holes drilled and threaded. I think it turned out really good. So we have 4 holes here that are the original ones, and 2 holes, and then 1 in the aft as well. So I guess moment of truth will be when we put the threaded rods in here to see how well we got the holes drilled 90 degrees with respect to this surface. It's not super important because they will go through a tube that we will embed in the casted lead, and then we will have a nut down here. So I mean, even an M24 threaded rod can bend a bit on half a meter length, which will be the length of the keel. So yeah, I think it will be fine.
So we have now attached all this threaded rods that will go through the new part of the keel, basically. It looks quite shiny compared to everything else here. Yeah, we have some that is, see, there's a little bit of an angle here. They are not perfectly parallel, but parallel enough. Even the ones we made, which are these 3 in the end.
Here we have some material that we have cut up and bought. It's some pipes. It's gonna be the pipe which gonna be in the casting when we cast the lead, and then the threaded rods are gonna go through these ones. So we're not gonna drill any hole through the lead or anything like that. We'll try to make like a skeleton or whatever. I don't know what you call it. What would you call it? Something.
Yeah.
A framing of skeleton, yeah. with the holes for the threaded rods and some other supports, some washers in the bottom for where the nut's gonna be. These pipes will be like this, and then we're gonna weld this all together. We have started a bit with the welding. It's a bit difficult because we don't really have any flat surfaces or anything, proper welding table or anything like that. That would have been nice, but we're doing the best we can.
So this is what we have welded so far?
Yeah.
So now we're slowly getting the skeleton together. So maybe, yeah, the idea with this is that this will be inside the lead part of the keel.
And also the whole idea with it is that we're trying to capture the bolt pattern here with this skeleton, so that we can then later on, when everything is just casted,
yeah,
just lift it on. Hopefully at least.
Yeah, and that's the reason for all these extra plates. But also, when the lead pours over it, it will not...
Yeah, it's not really for any structural, really. It's just to keep everything in place.
These ones are... Yeah, now they're flying. to keep it in place while pouring the lead over it, so it doesn't... So we just can hopefully put the keel in place.
Yeah.
We had quite some wind earlier, but now the sun is out, and now it's way calmer, which is really nice.
So another day and more work. Today I'm going to prepare a metal frame that we're going to use to create basically a template of the hole pattern for the bolts that will hold the keel in place, the new keel that we're going to cast. This metal frame will also serve as a part of the mold later on. It will both be a reference plane on the mold, so we can place the plug in the right position, and also it will be a structural part of the mold. So I have some pieces here that I started to cut another day, and today I'm gonna weld them together. So I got the frame laid out here now. It's almost 3 meters long and 0.6 meters wide, and I don't know how flat this trailer is, but it's the flattest thing I found. So let's hope it's flat enough. So now I'm just gonna weld the corners and then try to make everything perfectly 90 degrees. It all welded together. I'm just gonna clean off these welds on the top side, as we're gonna use this plane as reference when putting the plug into the mold. This will also be the top part of the mold, keeping the top part of the mold together basically, and there will be some metals in between here all the way as well to keep up with the forces that all the molten lead will push against the mold with. Oh, so today's welding is done. I managed to do this part. That will be the top part of the mold later on, and also the reference plane for the whole mold. And then I did this part as well. That will just keep the bottom part of the mold together. Then we will build like a box between this bottom part up, and on top here this top part will be, and then the steel will hold everything together.
Now we have finished this the skeleton for the...
Is skeleton really the right word? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Whatever, stainless thingy.
That should be inside the lower keel part.
Yeah, and the purpose of it is to create cavities where this bolt will go through, basically.
Yeah, and hopefully we have made it stable enough so it will stay in shape when we pour the lead.
Yeah.
Because this part will now be inside the plug, and yeah, we have put some.
But also worth mentioning is that this is not any structural part for the keel itself. I mean, the keel will be there will only be these plates that will act as washers where the nut goes against, and then the force will go through the lead up to the surface where it will be compressed against. So this is not really any structural part. It's just to keep everything in place
and
during the casting. Yeah. So now it's time to take it off.
Yes. Now we have removed the skeleton and finished that, and next step will be to make a
sort of a template for the threaded rods, actually, to keep them in the correct place in the mold later on.
So now we have a few of these
steel bars here, so we put them in place now, and with a quite tight hole drilled for the threaded rod. And then we're gonna take this frame that I welded the other day. That would also be the reference plane on the mold, and then we're gonna weld these guys to the frame, so we have basically a template for where the threaded rods should be when the whole structure is in the mold. I'm not sure if this is the best idea to do it, but yeah, let's hope it works.
It's one way.
It's one way, yeah. Okay, so now we have aligned all these bars to this frame, and we just put some welding them in position, and then we're actually gonna drill a hole and thread a hole here, because we will have to be able to take this the rods and the frame part, and then the rod's gonna be mounted to the plug, and this will be part of the mold, and then we will put everything in place, and then we will attach it with screws instead. So this is just temporary to hold them in place now until we can thread some holes here instead. So another day with the plug. Today I'm doing the last sanding of the bottom part, and also going to start to sand the upper part of the plug. I've also started to mill out for with the router here for where the stainless steel is gonna go in and get embedded into the plug. So I measured out here where it's gonna fit. Where this steel frame are gonna fit, and then I'm milling out basically for all the parts that are gonna go in here, and then we need to cut all the way through, all the way up through here, through the upper part, where the stainless steel tube will come up. I think we will do that with a hot wire, but I haven't really decided yet. Okay, so I got it all routed up. I did all of it on freehand because it's not really that important how it will turn out here. As this is just, I mean, everything is just over dimensioned or over. Yeah, we're making two big holes basically for the stainless to fit, and then it will be covered up here with the styrofoam. These are the marks where we're gonna cut with hot wire straight through later on. Now it's time to get started with some sanding on this one. Oh, this is getting really warm. So it's a bit of a compromise when sanding. So I'm trying to obviously get the surface as fair as possible, but at the same time I don't want to take away too much material, as then we will lose the intended shape and not get up to the weight that we want. So I mean, this surface has been hot wired. You can see some marks here from the hot wire. Some of them are not very deep at all. There are also some joints here that still some opening in. I'm not sure if I'm going to take that much more. The difficult part is that it's not very easy to do any padding on this, as the whole intention with the plug is that it's supposed to burn during the casting, and most pairing materials or padding materials won't burn, I think. So that's a bit of a pity. So you need to get the shape correctly directly. You can't really fix it afterwards. Or at least I haven't found out the material that you can do it with. But I think we're gonna try to use some padding in some places where it hopefully will not stick to the sand, but rather float up when the styrofoam burns. We'll see how that goes though. So now I've set up a test mount here to be able to glue the two pieces together. It's not really a super important step, as the two pieces will be kept together by the metal frame and the threaded rods during the casting as well, but it makes things a bit easier just to glue these pieces together to see that everything lines up, and also to be able to cut the hot wire, the holes that are going to go straight through the whole structure. It turns out it's really good. So the two pieces are being glued together, and I'm trying to fix the surface finish a bit here. As you can see on this white styrofoam, there are quite some. It's not a super good surface compared to this XPS styrofoam. This is way more fair and a nice surface. What I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to use some of this what do you call it, some putty for fine putty for some woodwork. And I'm trying to, it's probably very difficult to see, I put on some here. I'm trying to not build a layer at all, because as I said before, all this has to burn up during the casting. So I'm just trying to put on some to fill the voids basically, and really scrape off any excess. I guess it cannot really get worse than the voids. Either we will get the voids from this surface in the casting, or this putty will get stuck in the sand, and then you will still have a void. So yeah, let's see how it goes. So the plug is now glued together, and I've been over it once with some putty to fill up or to make the surface more even, and I think I will do for now. I might go over it with another round of putty as well, but I ran out of what I had right now. This is also a bit of an experiment, as I don't really know what will happen with that when we do the actual casting. Not really that we need an experiment in this project, because we don't know anything at all about casting like this, but yeah, that's where we are. Yeah, so next step will be to mount it to the frame, and then we're ready to put it in the mold.
Okay, so now I have made some holes through the entire plug, and now we're gonna see if the skeleton fits. Now we're starting to put everything together: the frame, the skeleton, the plug. So work in progress, preparing for the casting.
Yes, and we get a lot of help today as well. Okay, so today we're working with a casting site, maybe you can call it.
Yes.
So we have a lot of things going on with the smelter. We're starting with the mold. We're gonna do yeah, so I've been starting with the mold, putting everything together towards the frame that we built earlier. We also have a help from a lot of friends today.
Yes. Here's one of them.
And there we have Vicente working with basically a stand, so that we can get the smelter a bit up, so that the lead can flow from the smelter to the mold later on. We have a working hinge.
Yeah.
How does it look? Okay, yeah, we did some cutouts here.
Yeah.
Oh, you took them off as well?
Yeah.
Nice.
Otherwise you cut here in the ball.
Yeah. The idea is that this is supposed to be a lid or an opening, so we can get the lead in.